The official call is under review. Let's go to the monitor.
SEC football. It just means more. Now back to your favorite bearded duo, Todd and Marty.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen?
Gentlemen and ladies.
And now it's live on Facebook.
Are you sure?
It says so.
Let me poke some buttons on my end so I can.
Just
Technical difficulty.
Visual, so I don't know what's going on.
Hey, Mama, see if we're on Facebook. I'm not getting an update.
Says we're live.
Brittany's.
Gets me every
Brittany's.
time.
I didn't get an update, and Brittany says she don't see it.
It's on my page.
Well, I went to the back and forth on the page.
It's on my personal page.
Oh, okay. Do what? Oh, it's live on Todd, so I guess we are.
Well, sucks for them. I'm just kidding. I'm doing it right now. But my thing is, there's no pictures on there.
No, I see the board's up, but our pictures ain't up there.
No, I don't know what's going on there.
Oh well.
Anyways, what a great week we had this week. You know, couple games. Auburn finally get a win.
Finally.
For the first time in like 4 games. Oopsie. Arkansas put up their third game this year of 600 points, total points.
Arkansas, yeah, 673 yards, I believe it was.
I don't know what's going on there, but again, it was Mississippi State, but we'll jump into that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
What else was there?
Somebody went 10-0 in Pick'em this week.
I don't know who that was, so we're not talking about that. Texas Vandy was a good one. There was a lot of good games. I don't know what's going on.
That ACC game, the Duke and SMU game, I think there was. Oh, it was awful. It's not the game wise. The game turned out to be really good going into overtime, but I think just SMU had 6 or 7 turnovers. It was Rhett Lashley's offense did not have it together and still managed to win and keep that number 22 ranking and keep them high in the ACC conference. Man, that indigestion.
Yeah, it definitely was a good game. I kind of watched that one after Auburn game went off, and then I kind of watched a little bit of the Colorado game as they clinched their bowl game for the first time since
did they?
2016.
I didn't check any of the Colorado stuff.
Yeah, I mean, good for them, I guess. But before we get started, let's take a quick message and get a load of.
This episode of the Under Review podcast is brought to you by Chuck's Heating and Air. Chuck has over 40 years of service and experience with residential services. He services most makes and models. He is Alabama licensed, bonded, and insured, and locally owned and operated. Are you hot and you're supposed to be cool? Are you cool and you're supposed to be hot? Then you've got a problem. Call Chuck. Area code 256-892-2757. Again, 256-892-2757. Chuck's Heating and Air.
Again, thank you, Joe Dickinson, for that soundbite. Thank you, Chuck's Heating and Air, for everything you do for us and everybody around the counties, connected, far away, doesn't matter. But as you can see on the screen, new graphics this week, so hopefully everybody can actually see that. If you can't see us, it's okay. We're not having a good visual day anyways, but...
well, good thing, because I've got like a halo over my head. I don't know about that.
But let's get started. Ooh, wrong button. There we go. And that first matchup we have today was Arkansas putting on that onslaught as they take down Mississippi State at Mississippi State, 58-25.
Something's a little screwy around here. Now, this game, as far as yard-wise, there was almost 1,100 yards plus in this game. Man, Arkansas, we talked about it in the pre-show for this week. If Taylor Green and Le'Veon Moss, if Taylor Green, DeQuinton Johnson, if they got started up, they wouldn't be stopped. And 314 yards in the air, 359 on the ground, just crazy numbers. And that's why it was 58-25.
Yeah, well, that wasn't. Well, let's be real. Taylor Green, one of the best games since Ryan Mallett.
Most
Rest in
definitely.
peace. But with Taylor Green, that being said, he was the first quarterback to throw for 5 touchdowns and also run for 1. So 6 total touchdowns and threw 1 interception.
Yeah, like I said, it's just the biggest thing. Like I said, we said that Mississippi wouldn't lay down, but with 5 turnovers, what else can you do? They really was. They had grease on the ball or something, because you turn it over 5 times, you're expected to lose, and that's why they lost as bad as they did.
Well, that loss takes the Mississippi State Bulldogs out of playoff or out of bowl
They're hooked on phonics, my friend.
They're out. No bowl game. That's what I'm trying to say. Get the point across.
Yeah.
But let's get some numbers here from Arkansas. Taylor Green, 23 for 29, 314 yards, averaged 10 yards a throw. Pretty good. 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. DeQuinton Jackson was out. If you follow Facebook, you notice I posted that Friday morning or afternoonish. Braylon Russell, who had a great week last week, had 16 carries for 175 yards. No touchdowns, but his longest was a 75. And then the big wide receiver was looking at again was Andrew Armstrong, 4 receptions, 76 yards, and no touchdowns. But like you said, Arkansas had 3 fumbles, but they didn't lose any, but they gained 3 on the other side, which could have been pretty bad for them. But on the defensive side, Xavier Sorey Jr., 11 tackles, 2 solos, and 1 pass breakup.
Yeah,
He also had an interception.
Yeah, Arkansas's defense, they're good, but going against this Mississippi State team, they really looked like they was all Heisman players as far as offensive
like
defense.
you was playing a game of college football 25, and you put on all Heisman, and you were like Sam Houston State versus like Georgia. Like that's what it was looking like.
Yeah, Mississippi State, they just couldn't get anything going. They did put 25 points up on the board. That's because that Arkansas defense can be shaky at times. But, Mississippi's done like we figured they would be this year anyway.
Yeah. Michael Van Buren Jr., 22 for 31, 309 passing, just right at 10 yards pass. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for the true freshman, so it's okay. Devin Booth, 17 carries, 93 yards, no touchdowns. The great wide receiver, Kevin Coleman Jr., 8 receptions, 100 yards, and 1 touchdown. Van Buren lost 2 fumbles. And then Stone Blanton on that defense, 10 tackles and 1 solo. Just nothing really to be happy about if you're a Mississippi State Bulldog fan. But something to be happy about if you are Arkansas. Again, like we said, 3rd game this year, they have thrown for or have total yardage 600 yards, which is great. Something to look forward to. They got 2 games, I think, to clinch 2 or 1. So then they'll be out of bowl game. And I did the math the other day. I think only 3 to 4, depending on how Auburn can do, 3 to 4 teams will not make a bowl game this year.
And that's shocking that Vandy's going to be one of them teams to make it.
Right.
With their schedule looking out.
So let's head on down to the next one. And this was a big one, not just for us, but for fans who actually like football. Auburn Tigers traveled down to Lexington, Kentucky, and a final score for the Auburn Tigers, 24-10. Kentucky had the first 10 points of the game, but Auburn 24 points unanswered to give the Tigers a 24-10 win. And the big storyline, Jarquez Hunter, the most carries he's ever had in an Auburn uniform, most yardage he's ever had, 23 carries, 278 yards, which breaks this year's most rushing yards in a game by Alshon Jenney.
Right. Our Jarquez Hunter was everything that he should have been all year. I don't know what Freese has been thinking by not running him like he had all year. Now Auburn had 27 first downs, and you picked him up by churning out yards as Jarquez did, which he moved up to number 6 on Auburn's all-time leading rusher. Still behind Bo Jackson, Cadillac, Isaiah Bruce, and names like that. Auburn was right at 500 yards. Again, 328 on the ground, and Peyton Thor put up 172 in there. And Peyton didn't have a bad game. This is one of the only game, or maybe the second game this year, that Auburn did not lose in the turnover margin. So, and that's what happens and that's what we thought. I thought this team was going to show up at Mizzou last 2 weeks ago, and they didn't. But this is the team I was looking for. Granted, Kentucky's not a great team, but Auburn did everything right.
Which shocks me. I kind of figured they would have one. I think they had one. The interception by Peyton Thorne.
Right. But
so
the turnover, it was still 2-1 in the turnover margin.
I'll take it. 2 interceptions by Auburn.
Well, shocker.
Peyton Thorne, 20 for 26, didn't have a bad day. 176 yards, or 172 yards, 6.6 average at passing yardage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I said the interception could have hurt a lot because it did lead to 7 points for Kentucky. Could have hurt very big, but it didn't because of Jarquez Hunter, 23 carries, 278 yards, 12 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, who was Kentucky's coach? Stoops?
Yeah, Mark Stoops.
I really thought that he didn't live up to his potential here because because Vandergrift had a terrible game. I think he had 3 picks.
2.
Because our little stat thing ended up there this week. But like I said, I thought he struggled way more. I don't know who their backup is.
We'll get into that when we get into Kentucky. Hold on.
We are in Kentucky, aren't we?
No, I'm not done with Auburn yet.
Oh, well.
I know. Keandre Lambert-Smith, 4 receptions, 53 yards, 1 touchdown, averaged 13.3 yards per catch. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that KLS.
2 big guys I want to talk about here on the defense. Dorian Mausi Jr., 10 tackles, 6 solos, 2 tackles for losses. But let's get to the big guy on the defensive line. One of the best, I guess the savior at this point.
Keldrick
Faulk. 3 tackles, 3 solos, but 2 sacks and 2 tackles for losses.
Yeah, he played outstanding. And like I said, this is not a super great Kentucky team, but I thought our back 7 really picked up. By freshman play by not Keith Lee.
Kalen
Lee. He did have another big pass interference call as he's had the last couple of games, but I think that's working some of him out being a freshman. But I thought their play picked up a whole lot better. And real quick, jump over to the offensive side as we talked about run the dadgum ball. Auburn had 20 passes the whole game, but had 47 rushes.
26. 20 was completed.
Well, either or.
Right.
But still.
You almost ran. Jarquez almost ran more than Peyton Thorne through.
Exactly. And then they still, once they couldn't, if they were sticking Jarquez, the other guys, come in and really were able to do that out. But that's, we've been saying that all year. I talked to a guy today, and it's like we finally did it as far as, run the dadgum ball.
Right. Yeah, and give it up to the true freshman. Big play, Jay Crawford, first career, INT in a pretty big spot because if Vandergriff would have just floated it just a little bit, it was wide open.
Yeah. So that was that the one right there in the end zone?
No. That was Kalen's.
Okay, now that was where he had a chance to run, but he stepped out like at the 3.
Yeah. I'm talking about Jay's where he was just guarding the guy and just automatically turned around and just said,
okay.
NFL.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now for Kentucky side. Before we get into the numbers, I don't understand it because Gavin Winsmith played the whole second half. Whole second half and the game was tied at halftime, 10-10. Brock Vandergriff did not snap the ball one time in the second half. I don't get it. I don't know what your game plan was, but that wasn't it.
Well, but the thing is, if you've already had 3 interceptions, would you want him playing again?
Brock only had 1.
Then Wisnett had the other 2?
Winsmith threw 1.
Okay.
And there was only 2. I've said that twice.
I've been half asleep.
Brock Vandergriff went 9 for 17, 120 yards, and 1 interception. Gavin Winsmith went 3 for 10, 34 yards, and 1 interception.
I don't know what Kentucky. I mean, yes, we know they're not jumping on all cylinders this year, but something's got to be done. You either got to find somewhere in your running game or to open up your passing game or your passing game to let your running game be there. But Kentucky was not doing it. This was not the same team that we've seen run closer ball games.
Like we've said Friday, Demi Sumo Krombe was out, which hurt them a lot. They only ran the ball 27 times, which is even because that's only many times they passed the ball. That's it.
Right, and their second string running back was out also. So they had a third. I can understand that, but it's college football. I'm happy with it. Auburn gets a win. Like I said, even for like we talked about with the Mizzou beating Auburn, it's nothing to write home and have a parade about and rip the goalpost out, but it's still a win.
All right, let's just head on to our next one. We spend too much time on them things.
I know I get wound up.
This brings us to the Grove. That's the place.
The party place.
Yes. 14-26 as Ole Miss beats Oklahoma. And a little bit closer game than what everybody pretty much thought of.
I know I wrote numbers on them. I didn't. I was already getting wound up at the Auburn game. I'm trying
Jackson
to write
Arnold
this.
started this week for Oklahoma instead of Michael Hawkins Jr. He went 23 for 31, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma still 329 total yards. I mean, it averaged out at 182 in the air, 147 on the ground. But to me, the biggest story is, Ole Miss's defense shut Oklahoma out the second half. And, the whole game, Oklahoma wound up with, or Ole Miss wound up with 10 sacks. I mean, that's getting after it. That's putting your Hawk fan back in.
Oh, you talking about Ole Miss had 10 sacks?
Yes, Ole Miss had 10 sacks.
Put their line shark up. That is the second straight week Oklahoma has given up 9 sacks.
I wouldn't want to be their quarterback.
They're about to break a record, actually. I'm not even kidding. They're about to break a record.
That's like Brett, our quarterback in high school. He used to get them lookout blocks.
Well, if you wasn't on the line, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's probably
That's why I didn't play offensive line. But who was Oklahoma's running back? They really haven't had one this year. What's his name? Gavin Sawchuk was out again. Does a lot. 67 yards on 16 carries for Barnes. Nothing really good. Deion Brooks didn't play. Nothing really. Headed over to the defense. Danny Stutzman, 9 tackles, 4 solos. Half tackle for loss. No interceptions. Ole Miss. Jackson Dart, 23 for 30, 311 yards, 1 touchdown. Henry Parrish Jr., 15 carries, 44 yards, 1 touchdown. Then Chris Paul Jr. had a fumble recovery. Chris Paul Jr. had 12 tackles, 7 solos, and 2 tackle for losses. And then Centurion Perkins, I'm guessing, 11 tackles, 8 solos, 4 sacks. He had 4 sacks.
Yeah, that's video game numbers for that young fella. And the crazy thing is, Ole Miss had 380 yards, and 311 of them were passing. I don't do math well, but that only leaves them 69 yards on the ground. So, I mean, and you again the college football year, you were top 10, and you're only getting 69 yards.
Yeah, something's going on. But, Ole Miss taking care of business, going into Norman, showing them what's up. So, this next game brings us an absolute blowout. But it's not for the reason you think it was. It's not for great quarterback play by Alabama. Was not that.
Nope.
It wasn't for great. Could have been. Nope, not even great defensive play. Because I said it last week. Okay, so everybody knows Alabama won 34-0 at home in Bryant Stadium. Brady Cook got hurt again. This time he hurt his wrist.
Yeah.
So he got out. Drew Pine, once again, comes in to try to be the saving grace.
Duck.
For Missouri. But I said it last week. This kid is not a quarterback. You put him in somewhere. I don't care. 3 interceptions. 3. I mean, it could have been worse as, like, Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord this week, playing Pittsburgh, had 5 interceptions and 3 of them were pick sixes. Could have been worse.
Was fun. Yeah, it could be worse.
That was a barn burner, man. I loved it.
No, it's when I know that they had their backup in, but again, I thought Alabama looked a lot better. I mean, they still struggled at quarterback. There were still a few penalties. Kendrick Law had another personal foul.
What I thought
that was kind of uncalled for. But overall, I think Alabama's back 7 stepped up this game. Again, they had the 3 picks. They looked more in unison. On the other side of the ball, Milroe struggled again. I don't know how many times he targeted Williams, but I did know a couple of times he was hitting Bernard, which I think is Alabama's top receiver. Look, I know everybody's getting over the hype of Ryan Williams, but Gerard Butler, I think 300. But, Bernard should be your number one and should be your guy to hit.
Yeah. Drew Pine went 6 for 12. It's 50%. 42 yards, 3 interceptions. Brady Cook, on the other hand, before he got hurt, 7 for 12. 30 yards, nothing. Didn't really have a good run game. Nate Noel out once again. Marcus Creel, 17 carries, 80 yards. Theo Weiss only had 2 catches. Luther Burn third only had 3, but for 3 yards. So I guess they're like little screens. You can't win like that, first of all.
And again, go back to the Auburn game. I don't know what's going on, but, Bernard for Luther Bernard third for
Luther Burn the third.
Yeah, that one. For Mizzou, he had top honors coming into the season. I think last 2 games.
They're still naming him as like a first round draft pick, which he is great. So I don't know what's going on. Bad quarterback play could be one.
And Mizzou, they altogether 239, only 167 yards on the ground, and then they put up 72 in the air, which is terrible. But again, you're letting Andrew Pine, whatever his name is.
Drew Pine should be riding the pine.
Yeah, it should be in a pine box. That was atrocious. But no, overall 34-0. Any way you look at it, it was a ball game, and we all know none of us have been on the Mizzou train any this year. And again, they're slowly, even though I had that win against Auburn, but like I said, that's not much to brag about. So I definitely see them being out of the top 25 and not doing much more this year.
I actually think they finished at like 25th. I think they fell to 25th.
Oh, was it 20? Okay. I briefly looked at it. I briefly had looked at it earlier.
Jalen Milroe, 16 for 26, 215 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions on throwing the ball. Justice Haynes, 8 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. Richard Young got some action this week, 3 carries, 63 yards, which if you know from the beginning of the year, I picked him to be one of my players to watch. He's been hurt, which sucks. So glad to see him getting in and 21 yards per carry. That's pretty good, Jeremy Bernard, like you said, 5 receptions, 82 yards. Ron Williams, 4 catches, 53 yards. Jaheed Campbell on that defense, 8 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss.
Overall, Bama just they done what they should have been doing all year, and hopefully they'll get right back on this track next week. I don't know if they'll finish out all the way because aren't they out of the SEC
Mizzou?
championship?
Alabama?
Yeah,
No. Mizzou is.
yeah. Mizzou is.
Alabama's not.
Mississippi State is.
Oh, God. Auburn's out of that one, over the SEC championship.
Yeah. Well,
But let's head on. Don't know what that was. But Texas traveled down to Nashville as the number 5 Longhorns placed the 25 ranked Commodores. First time Vanderbilt's been ranked since 2017. Texas wins 27-24, but Diego Pavia didn't give up this game. And I do want to let that be noted. This game was way worse at one point.
yes,
If
yes.
Diego Pavia would have just stepped down, just gave up, kind of do what Drew Pine did, this game would have been a whole lot worse. Texas may have scored 45. It was leaning towards out of hand. But the fight in this kid at Pavia from Vanderbilt, I give him the props. Brought him back. Just kicker's fault on the offside kick, on an onside kick. But good luck ever trying to recover those.
Yeah, Diego Pavia. If I was starting a team, I would like him to be one of them, the leaders there, like he was. I mean, wow! It was a really good ball game. But they didn't quit. They went toe to toe with, one of the big guns in the SEC. And I think we said last week there's really no moral victories in the SEC. But if you have to give an honorable mention on what Vandy really takes it, they took it down to the last minute. That score drive, it was awesome to watch. I mean, I just come up a little short. Now, Ewers, on the other hand, played well. I thought he stepped up from his last performance. Yep. This was a heck of a quarterback duel. Excuse me. Coming from Ewers, and Manning didn't see any action, but which I didn't figure with the ball game being close, and Ewers was playing well. But still, overall, the game did have a few breaks. Vandy and Texas together had 5 turnovers. I think Texas won a turnover battle 3-2, I believe, or 3-2. Offensively, Texas 392, 288 passing, 104 on the ground to the 114 on the ground for Vandy, 155 in the air, and 269 altogether. I mean, to me, Vandy had it all together, but just couldn't pull out the heroics.
I agree. Quinn Ewers, 27 for 37, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Okay, those interceptions got to stop, dude. If you want to win big games, you got lucky this week, I guess. You got lucky this week against Vanderbilt. But you play Georgia, you're going to lose like that, which you've already lost. It's just, these games got to be better.
Mm-hmm.
For Quinn Ewers' part.
Yeah,
Quinn Wisner, go ahead.
I don't see how, if this continues, if they do make it to the playoff, when they start getting up to match really good teams, I don't know how long they can punch it out when they play a really stellar defense and he's throwing these picks. It could end Texas season really fast.
Quinn Wisner, 17 for 79 yards. No touchdowns. Jaden Blue, 10 carries for 47 yards. No touchdowns. Wide receivers, DeAndre Moore Jr., 6 receptions, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good play. 2 of the 3 passing touchdowns from Quinn Ewers went to him. It's great. He played great. On the defensive side, their leading guy, Anthony Hill Jr., 8 tackles, 5 solos, 1 pass breakup. Flipping over to the Vandy side. Diego Pavia, 16 for 29, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He also led in rushing with 16 carries, 67 yards, and 1 touchdown. But his other backs got to touch the ball, man. I mean, I know, I get it. He's Diego Pavia. Yes. But your running backs, which is what they get paid to do, literally because, college, they don't pass the ball normally. They can catch some, but their main focus is to run the ball.
Right.
And then Cedric Alexander only getting 10 carries for 32 yards this game kind of hurt him.
Well, and maybe that I say some of that can fall. I don't say that on the coach's fault, but Pavia taking the game in his hands like that to try to make something happen. I mean, it could be there, but I wouldn't want nobody else leading my team. Just the right decisions. I mean, 27-24 to a top 5 team. Again, I'm giving that moral victory to Vandy.
Yeah, Junior Sherrill, 5 receptions, 62 yards, 1 touchdown, and then Eli Stowers, 3 receptions, 33 yards, and 1 touchdown. Then on that defense, Brian Longwell, 11 tackles, 6 solos, and a half tackle for loss. I don't know. For them, they got to figure something out.
Yeah, if Texas can get there, I think they can get there. But as far as quarterback play, I mean, you have 2 of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, but we got to figure out how to use them.
Yep. That is not what I want.
What was that about?
I don't know. There it goes again.
There it again.
What is going on?
Sounds like you're. There it goes again.
I don't know. That was weird.
I thought you had your soundboard picked up.
The Interstate Game of the Week. Dang it.
I guess this is what trying to do it on traffic is like.
Our Interstate Game of the Week brought us Notre Dame, 12th ranked Notre Dame, to the 24th ranked Navy midshipmen. Notre Dame proved a point this week, 51-14. But it was Navy. But it was our Interstate Game of the Week at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. But Navy proved to be way too much for the midshipmen.
You mean Notre Dame meant to be way too much for the midshipmen?
That's exactly what I said.
That's exactly what you didn't say. You said it backwards.
Well, backwards.
Anyway, but honest, I know it's crazy to say, but Navy hasn't been this bomb since Pearl Harbor. I mean, what do you want to say? I mean, they just... Yeah, Damian, he put a clinic on. I mean, well, they going to cancel us? I'm just saying, that was a clinic that Leonard had. I mean, but on the other side of that, Navy had 7 fumbles. I mean, but they got 3 of them back, if I do my adding right. 7, 5. No, they got 2 of them.
Yeah, they lost 5.
So they lost 5. But no, numbers-wise, I mean, Notre Dame, 466 yards, evenly passing at 201, on the ground, 165. I mean, Navy's numbers overall wasn't terrible. They still under 100 yards and passing, 224 on the ground, which was their bright spot. They only totaled up 312, but I thought it would be a little bit closer.
I didn't watch it. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't watch any of the first half slate games. So anything before 2:30, I didn't watch.
You was doing
yes.
G-Baby's game, wasn't you?
I was announcing for the Raglan Pee Wee games this week. So
how was it? I didn't talk to you after.
It was pretty good. If Raglan wouldn't have black numbers, I probably would have did better. Or I had some binoculars. But
you needed a spotter, but
I tried my best. You
didn't have Knox up there with his little binoculars?
He don't have any. Maybe something. But so I didn't watch any of the first half games, really. But this game statistically went the way it was supposed to. Yeah, I was being funny. I was going to pick Navy. Backfired on me. But I picked them at my pick 'em, so it didn't matter.
You still didn't win.
I'm second now, so I don't care. I'm taking.
Oh second. Yeah. You picked up a lot. You picked up a lot of traction
these past 3 weeks.
Yeah, real quick. How did you do in fantasy football? College?
Billy came back and beat me.
I think I was ahead of whoever. I know Michael beat the brakes off me last week.
I didn't start Jarquez Hunter, and if I'd have started him, I would have won. Yep.
Oh man.
I started Henry Parrish Jr. and Moss from Texas A&M.
Moss still went. He lost that one fumble, but we'll get to that. But yeah. Good as far as pick 'em. For you that don't know that we're all in a pick 'em, and it's.
Nope. Keep going.
Yeah. So, and I think it's the first one of the year, the first 10-0 of anybody this year.
Okay, the first 10-0 without having straight cupcake week.
Right. And
So
I think
the first 3 weeks are always the easiest. Is when we get later in the season. I don't think we've had a 10-0 and like till that happen. Because after the first 3 weeks, we really don't like count like undefeated.
Not to interrupt real quick, but our buddy from the Dad Pod's giving us a watch. Oh, chicken legs.
Oh, cheeky buddy.
Yeah, I got to listen to him Friday. Good content. I love listening to them guys.
I think it was this past week. They put on a show. That kid that they brought in cracked me up.
Mm.
Might have been last week.
And I knew, no, that was the week before, because this week was, they played college football and Hunter run them in the ground.
He ain't played me. Sit down.
I said he ain't played me either, so.
Well, anyways, let's get back to our football.
Did you see that?
Uh-uh.
He said, I'll fight you with them chicken legs.
I didn't find nobody who's professionally 5-0. So
I
I'm
got
actually unprofessionally 8-0 inside the Army, but we're not talking about that. Yeah, none of y'all knew that.
Oh, let me get him. Anyway, back to the games.
This game was a big one. It was our game of the week. As LSU traveled them to Kyle Field, play Texas A&M. The 8th-ranked LSU Tigers against the 14th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Texas A&M pulls it off for a big upset inside the SEC.
Maybe for y'all it was an upset, but you know I had already picked Texas A&M.
Here we go
again.
I stopped it. All right. That's good.
Nick said he's retired and you'll be fine now. Yeah, like I said, I was already big on A&M for some reason. Their defense and their play has been stellar. Le'Veon Moss has been one of my favorite backs. But it had a lot of fun. Me and Mom went down to Broken Spoken. One of the ladies has an A&M shirt on. And I talked to her briefly. I said, hey, I hope they play well. I've got them in our pick 'em and our podcast. And I have to listen. And we talked a few minutes. But no, this was old-fashioned Brian Kelly. He laid an egg again. The second half was horrible for LSU. Miscues, 3 and outs. What was big was the field goal that got botched, hit the kicker or the holder in the shoulder in the head. It was bad news coming out of the second half. LSU couldn't find anything, and Texas A&M was there to pick it up and was stellar on the back end.
I sent it. I don't remember. It was like late third quarter and early fourth quarter. 4 straight possessions, turnovers.
Yep.
Interception, fumble, interception.
Yeah.
That's what caused LSU to lose this game. There it is.
Yeah, and it's not that I was shocked. Like I said, I know LSU has had some really close games. They had that early loss week 1. Who they have week 1? Is that Notre Dame or?
Texas A&M had Notre Dame. LSU had USC.
Oh yeah, well they had that, but I'm just hadn't been super hot. Nussman 3 picks. No, is it Nussman? Nussmeyer.
Meyer.
Yeah, he was throwing ducks. Exactly. I just, Mike Elko.
Elko.
I'll make sure I said. He had the game plan. They were down early. They fought back. I'm excited because this helped me secure my big win. I think don't give me them. So I was excited about it. It was a super good ball game.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Yeah, I wasn't. Oh, I could do numbers instead of rambling. LSU
had shut up.
429 total yards. Oh, the shocking thing is, no, it's not shocking. LSU only had 24 rushing yards the whole game. I think
they threw for more than that. More than half of that.
Yeah, they had 405 yards in the air, but
I think 50 passes is what I'm saying.
Hey,
50 passes to 24 yards.
Can you see I think they had 0 yards the second half rushing. I wasn't 100%. I thought that was one of the stats that they had. I know there was some team that only had, I think it was them that got shut out the second half.
I mean, you get them in the yardage. I'd expect so.
I would think so. But again, Mississippi State they did it all for me. LSU, I don't know where they fell to. I don't remember looking at that number. But one of my favorite parts of that whole game was them black uniforms.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That was disgusting. Yeah, them all black uniforms with that white on the helmet. My favorites of the week. Now Kentucky's helmets.
Well, after that was all said, let's get into something here. There. Okay.
You poking buttons.
I got it. I am poking buttons. Right. All right. I'm going to bring you some stat standings here.
Oh, was we done?
Were we not?
All right. Maybe I went through all of them.
That was our last game?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. Don't do that to me.
I thought I had more stats than I had time to talk.
Jackson Dart from Ole Miss leads once again. 2,695 yards. Garrett Nussmeier in second. 2,627 yards. And then Taylor Green back in third with 2,056 yards. For touchdowns, Nussmeier at 20. Beck at second with 15. Well, tied for 15. Second with Dart at 15. And then 14 touchdowns is in number 3 on the list, Quinn Ewers. Glad to see him back.
Yeah, I just we'll get to a conversation after the stats real quick.
This is huge because this is the first time somebody outside our big 3 running backs is back and is leading for rushing yards. And that is Jarquez Hunter.
Yes, sir, finally.
863 yards. Second, Dylan Sampson, 838 yards. Le'Veon Moss at third with 757 yards. Now, total touchdowns, you won't see Jarquez, but that's okay. Sampson, 17 at 1. Jalen Milroe, I guess he's been a running back again. Is in second with 12. And then a 3-way tie at third between Henry Parrish Jr., Le'Veon Moss, and Jaquindon Jackson all have 10. And then receiving yards, at first, Trey Harris, 987. Andrew Armstrong at second with 722. And then Ryan Williams is the third with 702. And passing touchdowns, tied Lambert Smith, Ryan Williams, once again. Second is tie between Trey Harris, Kyron Lacey with 6. And then third is a 2-way tie again. Dante Moore and Kevin Coleman Jr., 5 apiece. Under review, stats standings.
So jumping just the overall SC. First of all, one thing on Auburn wise, glad to see Alex McPherson back.
Definitely.
He still went 1 for 2, but I did not realize how pretty dangerous his situation was with his stomach issues that he had going on.
He has severe IBS.
Well, I don't, but I mean, that's something Britain was talking about. He got down to like 100 pounds. So just glad,
lost 55 pounds.
Wow. So just glad to see him back. So now just on the Auburn point here, do you think, Freeze is going to stay pushing the ball or?
Talking about running the ball?
Yeah.
Definitely this week against Vandy. Definitely.
Oh, I'll be there, so.
We'll get more of that game on Thursday. But looking ahead, Auburn, keep doing what you're doing. Run the ball. Learn how to stop Pavia, and you can win the game.
Yeah, as far as Auburn, and one thing that really stepped up, I noticed that gave Jacquez that opportunity. I thought the offensive line played stellar.
Yep.
When they would go back and show Jacquez run, I'd be keeping my eye on the linemen. And their separation, yes,
Moses just.
I know that one long one he had right there near the end. I'm talking about the end. They just split, and he just the the first person that touched him was the free safety, and that's a bad day if your free safety is the first person to touch the running back.
Yep. Well, guys, what another great episode we had for y'all today. Sorry if we got new equipment. All of us got new equipment. We're trying to figure it out. It's going to take some time. So, there's still stuff I haven't figured out.
I'm just pressing buttons.
Hopefully, y'all like the new graphic we got going on. Hopefully, y'all can see it. If y'all can't, please let us know. If y'all don't really care, that's okay. Still tell us. I'll take it. But what a great week. Leading into Thursday, we're going to have some more games for y'all. I think we got a couple cupcake matches. It'll be all right. I think Mississippi State plays UMass, which UMass lost. They won this week. They got 2 wins. But we'll get into more of that Thursday. But we do want to thank everybody that watches Facebook Live on this week, YouTube whenever we do post. Sorry about that last week. And then Spotify if you listen to us. Thank y'all for everything that y'all do. Coming back, even though sometimes we don't know what we're talking about, and that's okay. We're here for y'all. No, we're not here for ourselves. With that being said, thank you again for Chuck's Heating and Air for being our sponsor. Thank you for the Dad Pod with Luke Combs and Chicken Legs. Thank you to HCS Media for, if y'all don't know, please go and watch one of his. He knows more than we do, and he does the whole national or college football league. And then Judd Dickinson for the amazing soundbites, and then also thank you, Brandon Trumbull, for everything that you just did that gave us
the tech man.
The tech man, just everything is just amazing at this point, and we're trying to get there.
I stayed on the phone with him for like an hour Thursday just trying to figure even how to put pictures in places.
Yeah. But with all that being said, thank everybody for listening. God loves you. We love you here. Please come back. Please tell a friend. Phone a friend. Do something. We're getting more views on YouTube now. We're getting more views on Spotify. We're trying to grow. We love it all. Tell your friends. Tell your mamas. Tell your grandparents. Everybody.
Help us grow and come with us.
Yeah, but with that being said, we'll see y'all next week as we go under the monitor. Thank you.
Thanks for making the call to go under review. Join us next time as we go to the monitors. Until then, keep your flag handy. Thanks for making the call to go